What up, my guys? Welcome to another show, man. Tuesday edition, WNBA Talk with Jay, Ronald Cabang, Crispy Capping as well, man. My guy, Youcapper. Obviously, we trying to get some cash, right? It's another day. Let's get straight to it. What's up with you, Ronald? Everything cool with you, my brother?
Yeah, everything's real good. Been on a good streak in the MLB, WNBA, and sorry, I'm on the leaderboard for all three sports. So
Oh, okay.
that always feels good. That always feels good. So
Congrats.
hopefully we get some cash today.
Let's do it, my brother. What's up with you, Chris? Everything cool with you, my guy?
Yeah, everything good, Jay. Good to be on the show, man. Trying to get some cash like always with you and RC, man. Let's see what we got for the people today.
Yeah, no, that's a fact right there, man. Let's get straight to it. It's all business here on the show, man. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. And if you guys like the show as well, man, why not share it, you know what I'm saying, on your social media platforms, share it to your friends and family. I know y'all go to the sports book and bet and stuff. Let them know of WNBA. We're gonna be doing some NFL. Obviously, we experts in NBA as well, man. And Ronald does everything over there: soccer, baseball, hockey, every damn thing. He might be start doing some horse racing like Skee, man.
Nah,
But if y'all
nah,
can
never that.
if y'all like the show, share the word about the show if y'all don't mind, man. Let's get straight to it here, Ronald. First game up, we're going to the streets of Indiana in this one, guys. We got the Fever land a point here at the house versus Chicago Sky. In theory, it is a must-win spot for the Chicago Sky here, but the Fever have been playing really well, even though they don't have anything to play for. Coming off a big overtime win versus the Dallas Wings there, Fever have actually been playing some pretty good ball here of late. Not surprised at all to see them flip to the favorite in this game, Ronald. Now they're laying one. What do you think? Can the Fever keep it going off that overtime game versus the Wings?
Yeah, this is one of the games. I mean, I think this is one thing that I like about having a model this season is that you can capture numbers before it starts to move. Me and you talked about this, right? We didn't even know what the number was going to be at Jay yesterday, and you're like, I think the sky's going to open up at -2, which dude, you're like spot on that. And then I said I wouldn't be surprised if the Fever end up being favorites, right? And lo and behold, it's already shifted in that direction. So a lot of things to me really pointed towards the Fever team total over. That's the way that I went yesterday. Obviously, that number has shifted, I think, 2 points up. I think it's at 82
Mm-hmm.
and a half. I took it at 80 and a half last night. So that's the reason why having a model is good because you get to get those numbers before they start to move. A couple of things, the reason why I took that, right? Sky as road favorites, opponents 2 and over to their team total over. Not a huge sample size, but it's because they're not road favorites often. They opened in that spot. They're no longer a road favorite. So kind of, whatever. It's not active currently, but all three matchups between these two teams so far this season have gone over, and they went over by a good margin. Both teams going over their team total as well. What pushed me towards the Fever team total over last 7 instances as home dogs versus a conference opponent, they're averaging 84 and a half per game, 6-1 to their team total over. That was the biggest reason why I went in that direction. I know the Sky has something to fight for, the Fever not really, and that's the reason why I kind of stayed off of the spread. But that team total over, even at 82 and a half, I think that might be like the highest I would go, right? That would definitely be the highest I would go. Obviously, that the value is gone from the 80 and a half, but it's hard to tell people to take the worst number available. You know what I mean?
Facts. No,
Yeah.
that's a fact. That's a fact there, especially if that early one hit and then the late one don't. Chris, what do you think about this game? It's a tough game, two pretty even teams, right? Obviously the Sky, they're up and down, they hard to be trusted. The Fever, you never know when they can throw a dud as well. What do you think is going to happen in this game, Chris?
If I had to play Jay, I could only lay with Indiana, and that sounds so weird, man. But I can't trust Chicago. I cannot trust Chicago, man. I can't get behind this team. They it looked like they were going to perform well in the last game, and they come out let the Liberty go on a 22-0 run, and it just kind of in that way. I honestly, Jay, hot take. I think the Fever actually could be better than the Sky if Nalessa Smith never got hurt, right?
Right.
So and a lot of what RC talking about as far as that team total going over, it's been since she returned because we got to remember she missed a large chunk of time, right? So the Fever, they've actually gone over their team total, even if it's just by a point or two in 9 straight games, which is how long it's been since Nalessa Smith actually came back from the injury. They're 6-2-1 to the over full game as well. You look at the Sky when they're playing down the competition, they're actually 7-2 to the over in their last 9 games when they're playing a team that has a 40% win percentage or less. And then I also think, Jay, we got to look at the overtime factor. So I went and looked at the overtime factor, right? Dating back to last season when teams are coming off an overtime game and they have less than 2 days of rest, They're actually 8-0 to the over in the next game because you're gonna have tired legs, right?
That's
and
a fact.
if you're worried about Jay, if you're worried about somebody being able to score, would you be worried more about the Sky being able to get to the over, or would you be worried more about the Fever? I think I'd be worried more about the Sky, right? So the Fever,
I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't mean to cut you off,
No,
Chris,
go ahead. Jay.
But you kind of asked me a question though. You see what I'm saying?
What
I think the Fever gonna run out of gas here. That's what I think. I feel like either I would take the over in this game, and I agree with the Steam. It opened, it was like 160.5. I agree with it moving 4 points to the over. I don't think the Fever are gonna be able to play their best game here. They're just coming off a big overtime game versus the Dallas Wings, where they laid it all out there on the line. You got girls like Aaliyah Boston she only sat on the bench for 18 seconds. She played 44 minutes in the game. You see what I'm saying? And she's a rookie, so she's not. First off, this is the longest WNBA season ever, and you got a rookie that's coming from playing college ball to now playing WNBA. You see what I'm saying? And just played all those minutes, only 1 day of rest with travel. I think the Fever are going to run out of gas in this one. Before I would take their team total over, I would just take the full game over. But personally, I think the Sky team total over, whether they win the game or not, like 81.5. I think it's a really good look. I think towards the end of the game, the Fever are going to run out of gas. They won't be able to, even if they score points, they won't be able to be locked in on defense like that if you're have tired legs. So I think the Sky team total over is actually the better look, or the full game over. That's just my opinion, though.
So I like them both, Jay, and that's why I played the full over. I gave it out last night at 160.5, 161.5. But it's for the reasons that you just kind of mentioned, right? I'm not trusting the Fever. I'm not laying points with them, but they are, they're trying to change the culture in Indiana clearly, because the way the way they came back and beat the Wings in that last game was kind of crazy. So I played the full game over as well, Jay. Like RC said, this season series is 3-0 to the over. You see last game that the Sky actually trying to play with a little bit more pace, because they know they half court offense is trash. Right. If Youcapper not scoring, like their offense is trash in the half court. So I expect a lot of points, a lot of up and down. So I played the over. Don't really like it as much at 164, of course, and that's why you got to jump on these numbers earlier. But
it's 164.
I saw it 164.
164 and a half.
Yeah, 164
everywhere.
Move for
dang
everywhere.
And honestly, Jay, it's probably gonna go over that too. I'm just not giving it out at 164 and a half.
Exactly.
I think the Sky might score 90 points in this game. I think they might score 90. I would be surprised if they scored 90 plus in this game.
Chris, I was looking at that trend that you mentioned about how the Sky do when they face a team under 40% win percentage. So the last 11 instances, opponents are 10-1 to their team total over. Themselves, they're 9-2 to the team total over. So either way that you go, this seems like an over type game. The other thing to mention too, like what Jay just said, hitting 90 in this game. The last 3 instances, they hit 90 at least. And then also 4 out of the last 5, they hit 90. So it's definitely a situation where a lot of the things that we're talking about hopefully will happen.
Yeah, and for me, real quick, one more thing, Jay, so we can go on to another game. But you mentioned it, right? Like the Fever coming up. I mentioned the overtime game, right? So now you're having to play again. Your defense already sucked. They're the worst defense in the league. They give up 86 points per game over the last 5 games and over the season. So you're going to even have more tired legs. So give me the over. I'll probably still play at 164, but I'm not giving it out official at 164.5.
No, I'm with that. And the bookmaker is moving towards 165 as well. So Steam is coming in on his over. I'm telling you right now, I think Sky team total over. I think that's the one here. That's just my opinion. See what I'm saying? That Fever have moved to the favorite. Honestly, I don't agree with that either. I don't want to back the Sky. I can't do it with a ton of confidence. The Fever should not be laying a point in this game with them. Now, I know that they don't have much. They're playing a lot better. They don't have much to play for the rest of the season. They're trying to get better for next season, but the Sky actually have all the motivation in this one. Getting them at an underdog here seems to be a little unfair in my opinion. Could the Fever win? Are they playing like the better team? They are, but definitely don't like the fact that all their starters just played heavy minutes last game and had to travel home. I'd be looking towards the Sky, and I definitely like their team total over 81.5, my guys. We got 3 more games to get to, man. Let's get straight to it here. Let's go to the next one. Let's go over here to the streets of Connecticut. In this one, we got the Sun land 7 points here at the house versus the LA Sparks. This line was at 9.5 last night. It was only one book that had it. That was DK, but it's down to 7. It's another one of those cases where you have a team that doesn't have much to play for going up against a team that has everything to play for. The Sparks, they hold on to the last playoff spot right now, but if the Sky get to winning and the Sparks losing, they might possibly lose it. So all the motivation in the world for the underdog in this one. We know that Nika Ogwumike is questionable in this spot, but Hamby stepped in without her last game. They still played their same type of ball. I think the Sparks are playing really good ball right now. I could only look towards them in the underdog role, double revenge spot as well. And you got Kurt Miller going back to his old stomping grounds. Ronald, what do you think about this game here, Ronald?
Yeah, this one shifted a lot. I mean, yesterday I was looking towards the Sun team total over. Luckily, it wasn't available for me because if I did take it, it would have been the worst number possible. I did just take it at 81.5 though, so that's one thing that I was able to do today, where it didn't go towards me. I guess, like, I'm getting the better number than the worst number. But this reason why this Sparks here, opponent 6-1 to their team total over when the Sparks are road dogs in non-conference games. They allow 86.1 per game. Sun on the opposite side, right? 4-1 straight up, 4-1 ATS, 3-1-1 to the over when they're more rested than their opponent, and they also have more rest after this game as well. They're in those 5 games, 5-0 to their team total, averaging 88 per game. And then another trend that backs the team total over for the Sun here, 5-2 on the team total over when the total is less than 160, and also it's a non-conference game. So I think one of the things that I like to look at here is the reason why I stayed away from the spread is a lot of things that you pointed out, right? What do they have to fight for, right? The Sparks, they got that playoff positioning to fight for. Sun are kind of locked in their spot here. I think the line has moved in a direction that tells us NECA might be playing, right? So I kind of wanted to stay away from that. But the other thing to look at too, and I talked about this yesterday with you, Jay, is that whole injured player theory, right? NECA missed her first game in the last one. Obviously, the team stepped up and got the win as huge dogs. And now she is potentially coming back in that situation. When we look at that from an NBA perspective, that's a spot that we normally fade, right? But for me, I couldn't do it. Like, I can't back the Sparks in that spot, especially now that it's not a good number, right? It was 10.5. If you liked it, then you probably should have got it now. But from this perspective, I had to stay away from it, and I just stuck with a team total over 81.5.
Got you. That's for the Sun, right?
Yeah, for the Sun.
Got you. What you think in this one, Chris? You think the Sun maybe they got some against Kurt Miller or something? They want to smash him every time, but some tell me he's gonna get one of these games. Personally, I wouldn't be surprised if Sparks won this game outright here. Sun, really, they have nothing to play for, Chris. Why do you want to get injured? You kind of just want to go into the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? What do you think about this game, my brother?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Jay. The only thing I don't like is the last time it was in the same situation, that being the Sparks. It's just a bad travel spot. You traveling from LA all the way across country to Connecticut. Connecticut got more rest. And RC actually shared a query with me earlier in the season. It was something like home favorites with more rest before the game and after the game. Those they covering at a really, really high rate. So that kind of scared me off Connecticut, like you said. It scared me off the Sparks, right? If I like the Sparks, I kind of feel like I want to get in with them first half, Jay. But also, I talked to RC about this earlier. Clarendon came back, Jay. She's the difference maker. I know you talked about that again. I was watching y'all show the other day with the Spark, when they was playing against the Storm, and she got ruled out last minute because of health and safety protocol. They lost the game. Next game she come back, they win the game, right? And then I want to say they 3-13, Jay, without her this season, but they have a winning record when she's actually in. So they just need her offense. She has double-digit points. I want to say in like 7 of her last 9 games. And for all of those conflicting reasons, Jay, I'm not really touching this game at all. I do think we still don't know if NECA going to play or not, and that's going to move the line even more. We know how much she means to this team, right? She is the one person that can really go out there, get a bucket, defend at a high level. She's going to make the right play. She's super efficient. So I'm off of this game, Jay. I would lean towards the under if the total goes back up just a tad bit, because these are 2 of the slower paced teams in the league. Both of them ranked top 4 in defense. And the Sparks, they just keep covering spreads ever since the All-Star break, right? Except when they played against Connecticut last time, they got the doors blew off of them. But other than that, they've been pretty much covering at a really good rate, especially with Clarendon being in there.
No, that's a fact there. So a few things on this game here. The last game that they just played, August 27th, there was an early start. So there was like 11, it was 11 a.m. for me. So it was basically like a 10 a.m. start for the Sparks. There was a horrible spot. I even still feel like they kind of stayed down. They lost by 15, but I still feel like they can kind of match up well with the Sun here, right? They like what they've been doing lately, driving straight to the paint a ton because they know they're not the greatest shooters. How can you attack the Sun? Driving into the paint. This time around, and the last time I think that was like the start of their 3-game losing streak. So like they were in a bad rut then. But this on the Sun side, they are coming off a game where they only scored 58 points versus Liberty. They've had 3 days off, so they are rested, like Chris said. But maybe sometimes that's bad. Maybe they've been kicking their feet up, chilling at the house, and their rest ain't good, especially when you don't have much to play for. Oh, we playing the Sparks. Oh, we already beat them 2 times this season. We locked into our playoff spot. We can't gain or move down. We just don't want to go out there and get injured. Like I say, if they lose this game, it doesn't even hurt them. And the Sparks, we know that they're very motivated to win this game. So just feel like a spot where I could only look towards taking those points. That's the only way that I could look in this game is taking the points with the more motivated team at the rest disadvantage. But double revenge, you got Kurt Miller going back to Connecticut. Could only look towards the Sparkies off in this one. You dig what I'm saying? But couldn't talk you off waiting on NECA as well. That's obviously a huge part there, Ron. Unless you got something else, we can get to the next one, brother.
You guys get to the next one.
Let's get straight. Let's go eat some wings one time, man. We got the wings here, getting 7 points at the house versus the New York Liberty in this one, man. Liberty been balling. And they've been balling out, man. Sabrina in, Sabrina out, doesn't matter. They're getting ready they're not saying they're getting ready for the playoffs like, oh, we don't care about these games. They're getting ready, like locking up, playing defense, playing good games. Now, we have saw that the wings could match up well with them. But it's like I said, they hadn't been playing the best ball either. They're coming off the overtime game as well. Home, they didn't have to travel though. How you looking at this game, Ronald? Liberty opened up at 4.5, 5. It's up to 7, 6.5, 7 now. My God, how you liking this one?
Yeah, this one I'm gonna stay away from the side perspective. This is my $2 Tuesday play over at Wager Talk, and just out of respect to everyone that bought it, I don't want to give too much out on the side perspective. But I did also give out a total, and that's what I'll talk about today. But I took the total over 170.5. Again, like I said, the lines move quick in the WNBA, and I think that's what's beneficial of having a model and being able to capture numbers before they start to move. It is at 172.5, but my model actually has it at 177, so there's still a lot of value to the over. If you look at the last couple of matchups between these two teams, they scored almost 200 in the first game, and they scored like 180 something in the second game. So this is a third matchup. First one in Dallas between the two teams here. I can only look towards the over in this spot here. Here's a few other trends that put the over in perspective. Liberty have gone over their team total in 4 of the last 5 games with their position pretty much locked in, right? So for me, when I look at this game, their position locked up. I don't think they're going to be focused on the defensive side of the ball. I think they're just going to play pretty freely, and that plays in the wing's strength, right? Because they like to play fast paced. They're an offensive minded team, so that's going to play into their kind of play style. They've been a strong team at home, specifically 11-7 to the over at home. In the last 9 games, they went over in 8 of them, and it's mostly due to their lack of defense. So if the Liberty's already locked in offensively, they're not going to play any defense. Wings, we know they play no defense at home and play offensive minded. That's the only way that I look from a whole perspective. It's just a full game over. It matches up with the model. If you look at like some of the key metrics last 10 games, Liberty first in offensive rating, the Wings second, Wings dead last in defensive rating, Wings second in pace, Liberty fourth in pace. A lot of things really just pointing to that over. And like I said, even at 172.5, I would still take that over.
No, it's a great point there. You know what? I know you guys like to do SDQL. I'd like to know what's the record for teams, ATS or straight up, when they're favored by 9 or more and they come off a loss, especially at the house. I feel like that's probably the team probably bounced back more than not. I feel like, and it makes perfect sense. How you looking at this game, Chris? What do you think happens? You think the Liberty continue to play well? I believe they won 9 out of their last 10 games. Or you think the Wings might try and bounce back off that bad loss to the Fever at the house?
I think they definitely try to bounce back. If you watch your girl Orike she got some questions thrown at her about pouting after not getting calls in the press conference, and they told Trammell like ask the players. So they asked her, and she was like, ask the coach. So they kind of going back and forth. But she was like, I don't got to answer to that. But I think you know, a lot of what RC said, for one, Jay, they got to figure out a way to lock up. They're just not playing any defense, and they're playing so fast, right? Enrique, Satu, like they just getting downhill. Crystal Dangerfield, all of them, Jay. And what RC said, their defense just hasn't really showed up. So they're just trying to outscore you. They were able to go into New York and do that, you know, earlier in the season. I remember that game where they went in and won that game as, you know, as dogs. But the Liberty, they don't have much to play for in this one, Jay. Like you kind of said, theoretically, I guess they could catch the Aces if the Aces were to lose, but then you need the Aces to lose to the Mercury. So best of luck with that. Yeah, best of luck with that one, right? But so I'm looking at the total in this one too, Jay. I think this is the total that I would still give out, right? It hasn't moved that much, probably because it's a higher total, but it's everything that RC said. You look at the Liberty getting Sabrina back, first in offensive rating last 5 games. They're second in defensive rating, but probably won't play as much defense today against the Wings. They're first in rebounding over the last 5 games and first in turnover percentage, so they're not turning the ball over. I think that they're offensively, they just keep going, Jay. So if you want to look at the Liberty team total over by itself or full game team total would be the way that I play it, even though it's moved up, you could say like 2.5 points. I think this is the one that could, like RC said, could get to 180, 200, right? I think it flies over the total versus just finishing at like 173.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's how I kind of see the game. A lot of points, Jay, no defense.
Okay. RC, what you are you looking at that Curry over there? What I
Yeah,
see
yeah, you said, all right, so let me hear your question here. It was off a loss.
So a home favorite that was laying 9 or more, and they were, I don't want to make it too complicated, but home favorite that was laying 9 or more points, and they lost the game straight up. I just want to know how they do the next game.
I got you.
If you really want to get complicated, you could do it where the next game is at the house. I'll tell you how I'm looking at this game right now. The Liberty are absolutely balling right now. It's super tough to bet against them. Personally, I do think the Wings can match up well with them. I think they got the size down low to keep them from really beating them up in the paint, like Brianna Stewart and Joe Jones. I think this is a game where if the Liberty aren't making their threes, I think they could lose this game outright. Some tells me that the Wings probably looked ahead to this game, knowing that this is a much bigger opponent to try to get playoff ready with. That's just how I'm looking at it. Once they went to overtime with the Fever, they just didn't even give a damn about the game anymore. They literally just, I don't think they scored any points for the last 6 minutes of the game there. It's kind of like they just gave up. It's like, fuck it, we'll look to the next game. I know a couple players, Enrique and Satu, played over 40 minutes, but some tells me they treat this game like a playoff game. And if the Liberty don't have that same intensity, I think the Wings could win this game outright. I could only look towards the home dog in this one. Some tells me they bounce back off that horrible loss, and they're probably looking ahead to this game.
All right, I got it. So coming off of a loss as a home favorite of 9 or more, right? If they're at home, they're 25-12 straight up, but 16-20-1 against the spread. But if they're a home dog in the situation, it's actually pretty bad. 1-7 straight up, 2-6 ATS. So that says towards the Liberty side in this spot.
Got you. Yeah, I lean Wings there plus the 7. I ate some wings the other day, man. I don't think I'm eating none today, but if I'm betting it, I'm only looking towards Wings plus the 7, and I might just wait till last minute, wait till it goes all the way up and take the home dog in this one.
Jay, what you think about? I know you're not a big total guy. What you think about the total? You think it's a shootout, or you think the Wings slow down the Liberty from making all them threes and being able to play well? Because Jacquel Jones is literally the only big woman that they have, and if she's not playing good, because she can have bad games. If she's not playing good, she get in foul trouble. Tara McCowan, she about 7'5". She go down there get all the boys. You know what I mean?
I don't have a look on the total, to be perfectly honest with you. I think this is a game where if the Wings are treating it like a playoff game, like I think they might try to bring the defense, because we've seen it before. That's why they beat the Liberty in New York. They locked up on defense. See what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens. It's not a game that I'm even looking towards the bet, but just talking out with you guys, I lean the home dog here. I think this is finally where the Liberty, like if they didn't go in 22-0 run versus Sky, I saw a 17-0 run, Chris, but it might have been 20. I know it was bad.
22,
if they didn't go on that run in the fourth quarter, they lose that game outright to the Sky. So I think this is the game where the Liberty might get tripped up. Last road game of the season. I think it's a tricky spot in my opinion. Lean Wings heavily plus the 7 here. Let's get to the last one, my guys. I know that I'm not interested at all in this game, but I have thoughts though. I have thoughts, man. I always have thoughts. So let's go to the streets of Phoenix in this one, man. The bad streets of Phoenix. Got the Mercury getting 7.5 at the house versus the Washington Mystics. And simply put, personally, you can't look towards back in the Mercury, but there's no way in hell I'd lay 7.5 with the Mystics as well on the road. And and the last conspiracy, Jay, the Mercury already got the worst record in the league already locked up. They're not going to win the last couple games versus the Aces. I think they know that. I think it's their last home game of the season, if I'm not mistaken, regards to that. Last winnable game of the season. A win doesn't hurt them. I don't know. I'm just saying. I would be surprised if the Mercury at least tried to show up for one last time. This is a case where a win doesn't hurt them, RC. What you think about this game? Two awful teams here, in my opinion.
Yeah, I didn't touch this game at all. This one's tough. I mean, offensive rating, the Mystics' offensive rating is actually worse than the Mercury in the last 10 games, and that's saying something, bro. That's freaking crazy. And then Mercury played with the slowest pace in the league, the worst net rating all season long, last 10 games, all of that stuff. So this is just an ugly game overall. And this is one of those situations where when two ugly teams play each other, there might be a chance that they just go over this total, and I just don't want to risk it. But yeah, both of these teams are terrible. A lot of injuries to think about as well. Shakira Austin's out. Ariel Atkins is out for the Mystics. You got Sophie Cunningham is doubtful. Tarasi is out. I mean, this is a game that I'm just gonna stay off of.
Man, I don't even want to talk about this game, Chris, but I can't say it's crazy because I really got problems in the head. I was thinking, I'm like, man, I think the Mercury that played, bro. I need to go to the doctor, Chris.
Hey Jay, I'm with you. And here's why, right? I think the Mystics are good, but the Mystics, they can't get over the injury bug. Just when they about to get healthy, Shakira Austin fall on the hip when they play against the Aces. Ariel Atkins get hit in the nose. She got a broken nose. Christy Tolliver, I don't know if y'all saw it, but she done for the season. She messed her leg up really, really bad the other day on the non-contact injury. That was terrible. So now right, you and me both. So now you're relying on Brittany Sykes, yeah, and the rest of them. But to your point, Jay, you look at the Mystics, and they're just 2-7 as road favorites, right? And all of those games typically go under 7-1-1 to the under. But like RC said, the total's so low now. I mean, it's damn near touching 152 that you can't you wouldn't feel comfortable with them, being able to kind of creep over that spot. So yeah, I'm not playing the game either. It's for all the injury stuff that we talked about. I will say it is Della Don's birthday today. So for the viewers, if people wanted to kind of look at that, and the Mystics do need to win. They do need to win, right? Now, do they win by 8? I'm not 100% sure. But I like your theory though, Jay. I like what you said. They got one more game at home. They get the Aces next up at home at the crib. They won't be, that game won't be competitive at all. And then they go to Vegas to end the season. So this is the last winnable game. What they call it, Jay, they call it the X Factor, right? And it has been an X Factor because the Sun are 6-4 against the spread. At home is where they actually beat the Connecticut Sun, right? So for all of those reasons, ugly as it is, I think that they still could cover the spread. And if you watch, you think you crazy in the head, Jay. I actually watched this team. If you watch them, they actually come out and play well in the first half. They're actually winning the first quarter of these games when they're big dogs. And then they start taking it away. They can't make a shot. They don't know how to make a pass without it being a turnover. So I call me crazy. I actually look towards them first half. They covered first half in Minnesota against the Lynx the other day. And they were, that game was actually tied at halftime. So they just don't got enough to make it a full game. But Mariah Jefferson, looking at some of them girls, they actually can hoop. They a little bit, at least for half of the game. So I'll be catching the points. I'm not laying this many points with the Mystics.
If they had Sophie Cunningham, I would probably take a shot with the Mercury. I'm not looking to bet this game. It's just I'm laying. I can't sleep at night because I'm too busy thinking about these damn games. I'm just thinking the Mercury then lost 8 straight. When you want to tank the most, it's on the road. They're coming off a 3-game road trip where they got smacked every game. See what I'm saying? You can come if you want to do it for your fans and you want them to come back next season. You want to have at least one more competitive game to end the season, because the ones versus aces probably not going to be that pretty, even versus the backups. But in this particular spot, and I'm watching the Mystics last night, I'm like, I wouldn't be looking towards laying points with them, not with just relying on Cloud, Sykes, and Deladon. All three of them didn't even look the same versus the Sparks. Like, I'm like, so without their, they don't have all their players. Speaking of like Shakir Austin, Ariel Atkins, all that, this isn't the same team, and they're poorly coached in my opinion as well. There's no way in hell I'm laying 7.5. Should they win the game? Yes. Do they need to win the game? Yes. But 7.5 laying with this team right now in their current form, there's just no way I could do it. I lean the Mercury. I'm leaning all dogs tonight.
Jay, one more thing. Jay, Phoenix 5-0 straight up in the last 5 meetings in Phoenix. Against this team,
West Coast, East Coast team going west.
You got to go back to 2019, the last time the Mystics actually won a game in Phoenix.
They probably know this shit. They need to win because they're trying to fight. They're trying to get out of their third. They want to get out of their fourth seat to avoid the Liberties. You know what I'm saying? You got to, people. This is the last thing. This is the closing comments here, Ronald. I want to let y'all know, man. Towards the end of the season, you guys need to know who needs to win and who doesn't care about winning, like, or who's trying to tank, shit like that. But even that, even if you got if you're in the playoffs, they might be fighting for certain seeds and shit like that. This is important info that you guys need to know. You see what I'm saying? You can find all of this on Twitter, following the beat writers, listening to post-game interviews. You can find info out there. You can wait until we do a show, but some of this shit you need to be on like the day before, in my opinion. Here, Ronald, what's your closing comments? What you got for today for us, my brother?
Yeah, I'm gonna go and give out some plays here. I mentioned I was gonna give my only baseball play today, which was the Jays on the run line. So that's there. The line hasn't moved too much, so you probably get it where I got it at. From a WNBA perspective, Sun team total 81.5 over. I don't want to give out the Fever at 82.5, but I'm not going to give out the Fever 82.5, but Sun team total over 81.5. The Liberty and the Wings over 172.5, and then the I think that's it. That's it from all the lines. So, like I said, I took the Fever over 80 and was it 80.5? Yeah, 80.5 yesterday. I'm not going to give out 82.5, even though I still lean in that direction. And that's pretty much it. And then if you guys want the $2 Tuesday play, that's over at Wager Talk. That's on the Liberty and Sun game. Got you.
What's up with you, Chris? What you liking today, my brother? Any closing comments?
Sun Fever, Jay. I like Sky Fever. Sky Fever. I know the total went up to 164.5, but gave it out last night at 160.5. Hit it again at 161.5. Sparks in the Sun, nothing for me on that one, Jay. I think we gotta wait, like really wait till you know what's going on with NECA. But I could only lean to take the 10, last night what the line actually opened at. So no play for me there. If NECA gets ruled in and the total goes back up, Jay, I will be interested in the under in this spot. Like, I do think that both of these teams, Connecticut been struggling to score. The Sparks struggle to score. Both of these teams rank top 5 in defensive rating and bottom 5 in pace. So I'll be looking towards the under if that total goes up when NECA gets ruled in officially. Wings and Liberty, I like the over in that spot, Jay. I think it's going to be points for sure. And if I had an official play that I give out on the show right now, I think it'd be over 172.5. Definitely shop around, see if you can get to 172. But that total just hasn't moved that much. And I think both of these teams get out and score. I don't see a lot of defense being played in that game. I think Enrique going to shoot 15 threes. I think Satu going to have a big game. And I don't think the Liberty going to try to play much defense. Sabrina going to come back. It's going to be her first time playing in her new shoes, Jay. She's going to try to hit 23. So take the over 172.
So I bought Sabrina's new shoes because they're actually the first unisex from Nike, I think. So I ended up getting her new shoes. They're coming in today. So supporting the WNBA in all aspects.
Yeah, man, me doing this show and talking about it and betting on it, that's the support the WNBA gonna give for me. You get what I'm saying? But this is what I'm looking at today, and I hadn't even bet this yet, but this is a play that's starting to make a ton of freaking sense to me. Chicago Sky team total over 81.5. You don't even need them to win the game. You just need them you just need the Fever to run out of gas, which I'm almost pretty confident that that's going to happen. I don't care what happens in the first half or the first 3 quarters. The fourth quarter, the Fever will will be running on absolute fumes in this game. And I mean, you don't have a ton to play for. You don't want to get injured. You don't want to spend the whole offseason rehabbing an injury as well. This is what I'd be looking at today. The Chicago Sky plus the 1. I don't think they should be the underdogs in this game. The team total over 81.5 is a really solid look, in my opinion. You've lost some value with the Los Angeles Sparks, but I still think getting 7 points with the more motivated team and a double revenge spot and revenge from the coach as well is something worth looking at. The Wings as well have shown that they can match up well with the Liberty, coming off a loss at the house to a team that they know that they're better than, bounce back spot versus a team that they want to step up. You see what I'm saying? Step up spot. I think the Wings plus the 6.5 for the 7 is the right side there. And I can't even lean the Mercury, but I do know that I wouldn't be laying 7 points with the Mystics in this particular spot. Maybe throw them in a money line parlay, but I would not lay that many points with that team on the road. This actually could be a step up spot for the Phoenix Mercury in this one. And a few NFL plays that I'm looking at, man. Just that I'm looking at so far. Lions plus the 7, minus 115. Browns plus the 2.5, and the Bears as well, minus the 1. I did not agree with that line coming down. They've lost 8 straight to the Packers here. They got a lot of turnover for their team. Some tells me that DJ Moore goes crazy in that first game, and it's in Chicago. So those are 3 looks that I'm looking at in NFL. I saw somebody in the chat, man. That's the show. We've been on this motherfucker 35 minutes. Let's get this cash today, man. For my guy, Crispy Captain, Ronald Cabang as well. Y'all go follow him on Twitter right now. Let's get this cash. We will win. And we back on Thursday. Let's go. We out. Fucking